Hello, my name is Siri Mittet. I'm the founder and CEO of Gruten AS. I'm originally from Ålesund and lived many years abroad in England and in the US. I have a master's in environmental sustainable development and worked for some years in London as a recycling liaison officer. Back in Norway, I worked some years as project coordinator for a large climate change research project at the University of Oslo. And important for my current work is also my involvement in starting up Nabolagshager, a local transition town initiative. My business Gruten AS was established by a small team and board members during the spring and summer of 2014. Gruten, the name being short for coffee Gruten in Norwegian, started off producing soaps and body scrubs containing coffee grounds and running courses and workshops. During the fall of 2018, Gruten established an urban mushroom farm at Vollebekk Fabrikker. In 2 large shipping containers, we are growing oyster mushrooms on coffee waste, the first of its kind in Norway. In my speech today, I will talk about what I see as the key resources and most important assets for developing and running the business of Gruten, and emphasizing what I see as key in terms of giving the impact it currently has. Much of what makes Gruten unique is linked to circularity and repurposing of natural and physical materials. But also the story, the people and the partners are essential. I will also touch upon some of the challenges in this respect and what I see as important in order to make urban food production and companies with circular practice more common in Norway. At the core of the Gruten business model and our operation is making new value and purpose out of an almost unused resource. When you drink a cup of coffee, less than 1% of the bean ends up in your cup. And because we drink a lot of coffee, over 4 billion cups in Norway, we produce also a lot of coffee grounds. During one single day, the city of Oslo produces over 10 tons of coffee grounds. Most of this is sent to incineration and being burned. This is not good for our climate, and reusing it instead can help create meaningful jobs and protect our environment. Coffee grounds contain valuable nutrients such as nitrogen and cellulose and lignin. In addition, the grounds contain caffeine and have a structure that can be beneficial for human skin. This makes coffee waste almost a perfect material to reuse and upcycle into new products. And around Europe and in the rest of the world, there are now numerous companies doing just that. Being able to turn something seen as rubbish into new innovative products and use it to grow healthy food got me excited and wanting to start Gruten. From the very beginning, and even more so now, I believe that cities around the world need to be much more circular and also much more creative. We need to look to what is already here instead of using finite resources for production purposes, and by doing so, we can also engage with people and create jobs for the future. At the core of Gruten and our business model is upcycling coffee grounds to make new products. But what we do is also about much more than that. We try to apply circular thinking and in practice and doing it in a positive and engaging manner. Through the business of Gruten, we are doing something very concrete by growing mushrooms on coffee waste. But it's not all about making products. Maybe equally important, we are telling the story of caring for the planet and by that trying to inspire people and actors around Norway to do a little bit more and to join forces to create a more earth-friendly society. For this reason, when starting up Gruten, the small team involved had its focus on creating a quite simple and still lively, authentic and friendly company identity to make people understand what Gruten is about and not least try to visualize and engage. The company name Gruten and the logo has been the key. And so the other visual materials, including the website, our cargo bikes, and not least our small workspace and outlet at Bensebrugata at Torshov. Gruten believe a key element and resource in order to build a better and more earth-friendly society is to involve and connect with people and the community. Having such a presence locally has been very important. We have from the start also had a strong focus on open source knowledge and sharing what we do. That is because we believe sharing knowledge and getting more people involved and engaged is a key element and the only way forward if we're going to bring about the change needed. And we also see that sharing can be quite beneficial for business and to create important synergies. After we started producing mushrooms ourselves, our courses and workshops on the topic has become more popular. And by teaching people how to grow mushrooms, many also get interested in buying ours. Probably they understand a little better how much work goes into the process and how difficult it is to grow them. And because we want our business to be a good example and do not only preach, but practice what we see as important, we also do more than only reuse coffee grounds. Here are a few examples of what other materials we repurpose at Gruten. Maybe it can inspire you also and have your organization or business think about what you could use instead of choosing the obvious new material. Our mushroom farm at Nabolagshager is built inside 2 large repurposed shipping containers, and much of the inside materials are sourced second-hand. We pack our soaps in newspapers, and we grow mushrooms in repurposed mill mayonnaise buckets. We deliver mushrooms to restaurants in plastic crates, the ones used for selling mushrooms in shops. This instead of it being thrown away after single use, which most of them are. We offer kits for growing mushrooms at home, and these are made from repurposed candy boxes, which we collect at Europris. We got the idea about making grow kits from our friends at Beyond Coffee in Copenhagen, but we did it our own way by reusing candy boxes instead of making them out of recycled plastic. We also make further use of what we are left with from our mushroom production, what we call end substrate. This is a valuable resource and can be used again for making outdoor mushroom beds and for soil amendment. And in that way, we achieve more circularity. Importantly, and as mentioned above, by reusing these materials, we show in practice that it is possible to create innovative and sought-after products without harming the environment. And even more so, it is possible to grow well over 200 kilos of delicious oyster mushrooms a month in the middle of the city. We believe in the power of storytelling, and by telling the story of Gruten, we hope that more people can connect with the message and understand what we are doing, and maybe also want to join our efforts at home by growing their own mushrooms on coffee waste. The reuse and upcycling of materials is key to what Gruten does, but so are the people and the actors who support us and who make what we want to do possible. And even though it is not a person, although to me it feels much like it, a key figure for the business and communicating our story is our cargo bike, Hurtigruten. The electrical bicycle has since the very beginning been an important asset and face outwards. The bike has played an important role in getting Gruten known to the wider public, and up to this day, when we are at festivals and markets, someone will come to us and say that they saw Hurtigruten on TV several years ago. The bike is also a key tool for our practical work and used for transport and delivery purposes, although not quite as much as in the starting phase of the business. As our operations have become bigger, and we now collect up towards 300 kilos of coffee grounds a week. We now have a second cargo bike that can carry a lot more, and we also get help from a courier service with electrical cars to deliver our mushrooms to restaurants. Important to mention here is Nabolagshager, a project in collaboration between Obos, the real estate developer Asplin Ram, the Borough Bjerke, and the project Pådriv. Gruten has a lot to thank Nabolagshager for. Without it, I'm not sure whether the mushroom farm would have happened. At least not yet. Production in a city requires space, even if it's done in an innovative way, and as space is limited in urban areas and rental prices are very high, there's an urgent need for more initiatives like Nabolagshager, and for both local and national governments to set aside space for production of food and for other good purposes. A key to being able to grow delicious oyster mushrooms on coffee waste are the companies that we cooperate with, the ones giving us the grounds and the ones picking it up. Especially important has been our partner King Coffee, who sells coffee and machines to large companies such as Norconsult, PwC and Atea. Partnering up with King Coffee has been key to making our daily operations running a little bit more smooth and effective the last year and a half. The relationship has certainly opened up a lot of doors for us, and it is also enabling further development of our mushroom operation. Worth mentioning here is a third container that we received last week, which will be turned into a long sought after washing station. The container is sponsored by the company BNS, a company we got to know after being introduced by our friends in King Coffee. But it goes without saying that growing mushrooms on coffee waste is hard work, like most agricultural work. And the biggest asset and the key to getting the job done is the people involved. Gruten has only 2.3 paid positions and with 2 full-time, and without these individuals, especially the farmer, there would certainly be no oyster mushrooms to be enjoyed at Oslo restaurants. We do welcome volunteers and people in job training to help us with the harvest, and we are lucky to have a lot of interest from young people for what we do. Gruten is an AS, joint stock company, an idealistic AS, meaning that if any profits, they will go back into running the company. Besides funding to establish the container farm through Oslo Kommune, Norges Vel, and a few other pots of money, our business and financial viability is solely dependent on sales of mushrooms and our other products and income from educational efforts such as courses. We have no membership as of yet at least, and importantly to state, we do not receive any subsidies, tax reductions or other financial support for being a primary food producer from local or central government. So my last words will touch upon this aspect. I've talked much about what has been important for developing the business of Gruten and what has helped us to get to where we are today. And in many aspects, it is a success story, and it shows that it's possible to make food and business out of something seen as wasteful. But at the same time, there are reasons why there are no other companies like Gruten in other cities around Norway. And in total, very few jobs in the agricultural sector in Norwegian cities. I believe this is not because no one wants to work in agriculture in urban areas. In order for us to grow more mushrooms and other food in cities, which the government is saying that we should, there is, in addition to setting aside space, the need for more financial backing, and that in other forms than project-based funding and small pots of money here and there. I believe also that urban farmers need to get the same status as rural farmers. And importantly, here is that they should also be for farmers who grow food in containers and on rooftops, and not operating on agricultural land, which is a prerequisite to receive production grants from the government. And we need only to look to the Netherlands to see something quite different. There, they have numerous mushroom farms in most of the bigger cities and also many other circular initiatives. And not surprisingly, the country also has a circularity rate of 24%, compared to our 2.4% in Norway. In many respects, I think one comes with the other. When the ability to see opportunities of these resources and what they can bring about for the people and the planet, things start to happen. In order for us to get here in Norway, I think we need to showcase the good examples, work for even more cooperation, and push our politicians and government to take urgent and concrete action. That is why I also believe the event today is very important. And I want to thank Nabolagshager for organizing it and for the invitation. Thank you.